name is not so available because of the disease. But still we should take it as we take sweets when we have jaundice. And that will cure us of the disease, and then the sweetness will come. And as we're tasting the sweetness, that means we have ascended to the platform of liberated soul, who simply enjoys, like Prahlad Maharaj. Wherever he is, he may be in the material world, but he's always in Krishna consciousness because he's always relishing hearing and chanting about Krishna. And why has he bothered to come to the material world? Because he wants to broadcast the Lord's glories to the conditioned souls so that they can take it as medicine. So these verses are clearly establishing that consciousness is transformable by association, either with Krishna or with the modes of nature. So then, let us now go to this. Here we're going to begin our look at the Vedic presentation of the subtle structures of the mind. So we start here with Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, and his, what's called in Bhagavatam, Kala Shashiksha, time energy. This time energy is agitating. So the jiva plus svabhava. Svabhava means one's own nature, but in this sense, it means that jiva is already inclined to accept material nature as his nature. So it specifically means that svabhava, that inclination for material identity. And so because he has that inclination, then when he is touched by the time energy, when the time energy connects with him, then this agitates karma. Then comes out of him the desire for fruitive activities. And so then Paramatma, you see this flow of time energy is just facilitating everything that follows. It's just a natural flow. The living entity is responding to the touch of the time energy in this way. Yes, I want to engage in material activities. So then the Mahatattva then is revealed. Mahatattva, what is that? That means the total display of the ingredients of material creation. Just like, let's compare material existence to playing on a stage, a role. There's a dramatic performance, and everyone has their role to play, their character to play. So first of all, you have to set up the stage and you have to dress everyone in their costumes. So backstage, if you've ever been backstage in a big theater, if you go backstage behind the back curtain, you'll see there they have all the props. You see they have the furnishings for different stage settings, like inside of a drawing room, or in an office, or in a train compartment, or whatever. They have all this stuff backstage. So according to what play is being performed, they can bring this stuff, the workers, the prop men can bring it out and set up the stage accordingly. And also the costumes are back there, and the masks. Everything is backstage, needed to set the scene for the play. This is the Mahatattva. This is Mahatattva, the total ingredients. And this is, we're going to be explaining all this further, in further detail tomorrow. But the Mahatattva is the energy of the second Purusha avatar, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, or Hiranyagarbha. So, then, when the living entity, his material svabhava and his desire for karma comes in touch with Mahatattva, the ingredients, then comes ahankara, attachment. The ingredients are there. You see, just like you have your role to play, so you have your costume. This is my costume. This is my role. This is my character. This is my script. I have to learn these lines. This is my identity. You see? And so this is what follows, ahamkara. And this ahamkara, out of this false ego, then manifests these three shaktis, and these are the shaktis behind the modes of nature, the three modes of nature. So Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Dravya Shakti. So then when the Jnana Shakti is stimulated, then this is a particular phase of ahamkara called Vaikarika ahamkara. And then there's Taijasa ahamkara and Tamasa ahamkara. And so I put here what, in simple language, that just means Sattva guna, Rajaguna, Tamoguna. These modes of nature are actually different phases of the false ego, of the ahamkara. So you see, the ultimate background of our material existence is this false ego. That's the final layer, material layer of our conditioning. So then going to the top, following Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So under Sattva, there are manifested the mind and sense devatas. So we're talking about structure of the mind, but our philosophy, Vaishnava philosophy, is personal. So actually, the mind and the senses, all of this, are the effects of devatas, the energies of devatas, of managing personalities. Personalities who the Supreme Lord has given responsibility over his energies. So Chandra, the god of the moon, is the manager of the mind. The energy of the mind is his own energy. And therefore the mind, it goes through phases like the moon. Sometimes our mind is very bright. Purnima state of the mind. One feels very bright and satisfied and happy. And sometimes Amavasya is very depressed, seeing everything black and gloomy. And then there are phases in between. So this is the energy of Chandra Dev. and then these are the names of demigods who are the controlling of the senses. Dik, Vayu, Surya, Varuna, Ashwini Kumars, Agni, Indra, Upendra, Prajapati, Mitra. And so then what they're controlling, that comes the energetic manifestation, is coming under the category of Rajoguna. This is all in Sattva Guna. So in other words, the mind, the original mind and senses that we are given in this body are all in the mode of goodness. But then, as they're manifest in a grosser form, then Rajoguna, then we get the actual organ of ear, which is managed by the demigod Dik, skin managed by Vayu, eye managed by Surya, Varuna tongue managed by Varuna, nose, two nostrils, Ashwini Kumars are twin demigods, so two nostrils in the nose, each one manifest by one of the Kumaras, Ashwini Kumaras. Voice managed by Agni, hands managed by Indra, feet Upendra, genital Prajapati, anus Mitra. And then coming out of the tamas phase of ahamkara are the tan matras and the elements. So the tan matra means sense objects in the form of sound for the ear, and that is ethereal. Sound is ethereal. It exists in ether. And then for the skin, the object is touch, which exists in the air. For the eye, the object is form, which is generated from fire. Tongue, the object is taste, which is appearing in water. And for the nose, the object is smell, which appears in the earth. So this is the overview, the basic outline of the structure, the form of conditioned consciousness, of material consciousness. So again, everything is going back to Paramatma and Atma and their relationship. with the Atma now having this materialistic svabhava, this inclination no longer to serve the Lord, but to be an enjoyer of the lower energy of the Lord. So tomorrow we're going to go further into this and examine the different states of our consciousness, material consciousness. And this is very, very interesting, and as I said, it can be very helpful to us to further appreciate our ever-present relationship with the Lord in all states of mind. Actually, it is simply, ultimately, you see, as we see here, all of this is just a relationship between Paramatma and Atma and the energy in between, energetic exchange. So this, the more we can appreciate this, the more we are able to remember the Lord at all times, all places, all circumstances. All right, so I'm going to stop here. It's coming on 9 o'clock. Are there any questions at this point? Yes?
You were telling about this mind is introduced to access the material world. I mean, from a pure consciousness for accessing this kind of life. So does what happens? The mind, does it exist by itself other than in the material world?
Well, I've been telling you that we have originally a pure mind, which is of pure consciousness. But that mind is not active now, because that is the mind which we use in our relationship, our rasa with Krishna. But now that rasa is suspended because we are pursuing jada rasa, the dead rasa of material existence. So for that we have a material mind. A way to understand this, given by Srila Prabhupada, is that material consciousness, the basic consciousness in material consciousness, actually, yes, we'll be talking about this more. The basic consciousness required to experience all of this is a spiritual sleep. This is what we'll be talking about tomorrow when we talk about the levels of consciousness. So the first Purusha avatar is Mahavishnu. And he's in Yoga Nidra, that's divine transcendental sleep. And the jivas who want to experience material existence, they are with him. And they are also in sleep. But that sleep is not of the same nature as the Lord. It is actually this sleep of primal tamoguna, ahamkara, which is tamasic actually. So the soul is asleep by the order of the Lord. The soul is spiritually asleep. And all of this manifesting the mind and the senses and the sense objects, this is all the dream that we dream in that sleeping state. So in dream, you see, as we experience now, we dream of activities, we dream of other people, we have perceptions of a dream world, and while we're in that state we accept it as real. This is why you have nightmares, for example. You suddenly sit up in your sleep sweating and breathing hard because you've just seen something horrible in your dream that frightened you. So if you didn't think it was real, it wouldn't have frightened you. So this is a very nice way of understanding the soul's situation in material nature is regarding consciousness. And again, I've been saying consciousness is transformed. So to go from waking, our present waking state, to sleeping and then dreaming, that is a transformation of consciousness. Our consciousness is definitely transformed. And this is why we're experiencing all this. Yes?
What is the difference between the subconscious, the unconscious, and the state in which there is sushupti.
Oh, yes, this is what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. This is a very interesting discussion, and we have very elaborate answers for these questions, but I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, so I won't talk about it now, sorry. Just come tomorrow.
I have another question.
Yes.
Our society is moving towards more and more technological advancements, especially in the fields of biotechnology, cybernetics. We are now almost on the verge of creating cyborgs, which will have the intellectual capacity which used to be present just in humans. What place will these have in the bhakti marg in future?
But we have devoted cyborgs, you mean?
Something to that effect, yes.
Well, the way you've asked your question, you seem to have some optimism about these things. I have no optimism at all that any of this is going to come about. This is the propaganda of science that they're saying they always say we're on the verge of this or that. I mean, I've been hearing this my whole life. I remember when I was a boy, I used to get these science magazines, and there would be a cover picture. You would see these futuristic buildings and glass towers going up like needles, the city of the future, everyone having their own private hover car, no more cars on the road, every car just moving through the sky, and robots doing everything, all the menial work being done by machines. And so this was back in the 50s, and you'd see a cover of this science magazine, by the year 2000. Well, now it's 2003. Things don't look like the cover of those old science magazines.
There are scientific advancements where we have actually made cyborgs, and we have made the capacity to provide neural networks with feelings. It used to be just artificial intelligence, but we've now succeeded in providing feelings to skin cells, for example, in rats.
Yeah, okay. But this is just manipulation of the machinery that we're describing here. So the body is a yantra, it's a machine. And so by modern science, the machinery of nature, this is the whole effort of modern science since Sir Isaac Newton, has been to duplicate the natural machinery of nature with man-made machinery. So to some extent they can do these things, that's true. But there is, I read in this area also, artificial intelligence. That's a big sham. It's just a big sham. There are some scientists who are promoters of artificial intelligence, but when you actually go into the subject, you see it is the prospect of actually duplicating consciousness or creating an actually independently intelligent machine it's totally baffling. You see, they don't know how to go about this. They somehow have some ideas, and they do some little demonstrations of this and that, and then on that basis they make their big claims that we're just on the verge of doing this and that. Just like back in the early 50s, there was one man, one scientist, Stanley something or other. He made a chamber, and he put water in there, and he injected into this water the chemicals which he thought would be there in the original ocean of the sea at the time of the creation of the earth, and then he flashed lightning in the chamber to be like electric spark in the chamber to be like lightning, and so he kept the chamber very hot and bubbling, and then after some time of doing this, then he analyzed the water, and he found that some amino acids had been formed in the water. And then from this he made the claims, we're on the way, we're just on the verge of creating life. But amino acids, a few amino acids are very, very far away, because the amino acids have to combine together to form proteins. And proteins are extremely unstable. They don't hold together except when there's the touch of life itself. So, there was a big noise. I remember this when I was a boy, that now we're on the verge of actually creating life. But you don't hear this anymore. They don't talk like this anymore. So this thing about being on the verge to create, conscious, intelligent machine entities, I'm not looking at my watch. As Shakespeare said, there's many a slip between cup and lip. Yes?
Prabhuji, I accept this in the sense that, right from time immemorial, man has always created antidote for a disease, and right from malaria to tuberculosis to whatnot, and have been creating an antidote, but falling apart with a new disease. And it's they have created antidote for everything, but now HIV has fallen, and a new infection is always coming and is always taking the life away. So I fully agree that there is science cannot actually achieve the same as the spiritual as what is natural. But my question is that if we don't we were talking about desire, if we don't have a desire towards Maya that you are talking about, then how can Thomas Edison create the bulb today? We have a bulb and we have a good lighting out here, and how can Sir Isaac Newton form the laws of the three laws that he found out, or Einstein create the law of relativity. So all that which has really helped us in fact to actually
I understand your question.
Yeah.
You don't have to. I understand the question. This is a form of the question: what will happen to the world if everyone becomes a devotee of Krishna and gives up their involvement in the material nature?
Desire to excel. In fact, desire to have more. Desire to have more will only create more and more advancements in the things. Is it not a balance which is really required? One is towards the spirituality also, which is a reality, and also in the world that you are living.
It's not required. It just is. You see, the scientists you mentioned, they're all in Maya. They're all under material nature. So all of this creation of electric light bulb or whatever, this is all just the natural course of material nature. This is the way we look at it. Light bulb is a product of material nature, being presented to us through some intelligent scientist who himself is under material nature. So nature is going on. It's not our business as devotees. It's not that we have to worry about these things, that we also have to become scientists and be involved and create, because that's going on. Nature is providing. Nature is the energy of God. Nature is providing. In Vedic times, instead of light bulbs, they had Suryamani, they had gems from the sun. They didn't need electricity. The gems themselves were effulgent. And so the walls would just be embedded with gems, and they had then this light also at night. That was in that age, previous age. Nature was providing that for light. Now we have light bulbs. Before gas, before candles. Something's always there provided. So we don't have to, we as devotees, Prabhupada said, we are like, there's the example of the snake that goes into the mouse hole, eats the mouse, and then lives in the hole. Prabhupada said, we are like that, devotees. the karmis, they make all these things, and we just use them in Krishna's service. It's not our problem to be thinking about, yes, the next phase of material development. We devotees also have to. No, we think about Krishna. We want to advance in Krishna consciousness. Because this is going to go on anyway. It's been going on for ages and will continue to go on. It's not our problem. I see you don't like this answer. That is the answer. See, to take up Krishna consciousness, there must be vairagya. There must be renunciation from these
that is what
things.
I am talking about. That being in this world, facing this world, can't I be with the reality which is Krishna? That is what the thing is, because my body is there in this world. I have to face the world. I have to face every day, every now and then. The people out there, they are not Krishna conscious. So when I go out with them, I have to be with them. But at the same point of time, I know the reality.
Yeah, you can combine the two until you get sick of the material involvement, and you gradually give it up. That's the point.
So so it means that we should leave the material world.
No, you don't want to leave, so don't.
No.
You don't want to leave, so don't worry about it.
No.
You just chant Hare Krishna. No, you be quiet now and listen to me. Don't worry about this. You're always worried about this. Every day you ask this question in different form. And I'm telling you, don't worry about it. You just chant Hare Krishna, go about your business, be as enthusiastic as you want in these affairs. Try to, make advancement, make more money, whatever you want to do, do it. But as you chant Hare Krishna, gradually you are going to become detached from that. Gradually you are going to see that it is not necessary for you to become so involved, so enthusiastic for, material progress. You have to see this yourself. Now you are, contemplating this from the position of anxiety, worried what will happen. Don't worry about that. You come under Krishna's protection. Krishna will take care of you. He'll take care of you. He's the best caregiver. He's given this whole material world. So he'll take good care of you. You just practice devotional service to the capacity you can do. Don't worry about these things. Go on with it, whatever you think your duty is now. Chant Hare Krishna, and Krishna will guide you properly. And you will see yourself that there's no necessity for being so much in anxiety and so much worried about the future and so much, worried about your attachments and what will happen. Okay? Thank you. All right, then I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. To, in that subtle body, stay at the, crematorium or graveyard or house that he lived in before, or something like, or stay in the forest, haunt someplace, and then that becomes known as ghostly. Like I was just reading on the internet the other day, the White House where the president lives has ghosts. It's become a kind of problem. There was one servant who worked in the White House, and he was telling about all the different ghosts in the different rooms. And
but how that soul gets liberated?
Well, in time, because it is a kind of punishment. So, in time and by the grace of Lord Shiva, he has a name, Bhutanath. He's the lord of these entities. So he takes care of them. And he gives them bodies when the time is right. He allows them to take birth. So eventually they get back into those bodies. But it could take a long, long time. It depends on their degree of sinfulness. You had another question?
I was just making an observation that the answer that the Hansa Avatar gave for the problem that was posed by the four Kumaras was actually a Gyanvadi answer. Because he said you should realize, you should know that you are not that. You're not the soul. I mean, you are not the one that, you're not the mind, you're not
Yes.
the material mind.
Yeah.
So even though in the Krishna consciousness movement, we are actually going towards the Bhakti Marg, the answer that was given by Hansa Avatar was just a Gyan Marg.
Well, not just Gyan Marg, because Gyan and Karma they are components of Bhakti, but in a pure form. See, take the basic, just the raw definition of the word karma. It just means activity. You see, then furthermore we say it is, activity of selfishness that leads to further, reaction, birth, under the, within the samsara. But, the basic word karma just means activity. So, in Bhakti Yoga, you have to be active. I mean, there's no question. So Prabhupada used this nice term, Krishna karma. He said, we do karma, but it is only for Krishna. So he said, our karma is Krishna karma. And it leads us to Krishna. The so to speak, the reaction of our work is that we go back to Krishna. And there is certainly jnana. We have philosophy. And Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Purana, uses this term, Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam. So it is the realized knowledge of the truth of Bhagavan. And so this Bhagavat philosophy, it embraces all the Vedic knowledge. You see, everything that's there in Vedas, you can take anything. You could take Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, for example, which Shankarites, the Mayavadis, this is one of their big works, because it seems to them so impersonal. But from the bhakti point of view, we're completely comfortable with that Upanishad. We understand it not as they do, but Gyan, also this detachment by knowledge, we also do that. But the conclusion of that detachment is that you become engaged in Krishna's service. So this is why Krishna is speaking to, you see, that instruction of Hamsa avatars is within the context of a conversation between Krishna and his devotee Uddhava. So Krishna is mentioning that and then going further to say, because actually Uddhava does say, after all of Lord Krishna's instructions in that respect, Uddhava says, but I think that it is very difficult to remain fixed in this consciousness of detachment by knowledge. So can you speak further? And then in the next chapter the Lord starts to speak about bhakti. Yes. So you see, it's just a further step. It's not a contradiction of the realization of transcendental knowledge that detaches us from this world. It's more of a conclusion. You see? Then, having realized, you have to do something. We have to act in this world. That's the point of Bhagavad Gita. So that is Bhakti Yoga. It is enlightened action. Yes.
This is a very general question which I had. I think maybe you can. I don't know. This is a very vague kind of thing. I don't know. This is regarding the Anugita, which I don't know whether about Anugita.
Anugita?
Yeah. About I think some of the people from Shankaracharya quote this, where at last after the Mahabharata war, Arjuna will ask Krishna to again repeat the Bhagavad Gita. So that time Krishna says the Supreme, at that particular time and circumstances, I was given that power from the Brahman itself to talk the truth. But the same power I am not able to tell you. Does any of the acharyas in Vaishnava philosophy take this as a thing?
Well, there are specific Mayavadi types of texts. I am not familiar with this Anugita, so I don't like to comment on things that I'm not directly familiar with, because I don't know what I'm getting into. So, very often questions come, I heard that maybe, like this, and I generally say, well, if you can bring the book and show me, then I'll like to answer it.
Yeah, they say it's a part of Mahabharata, something like that.
Well, you see, in different sampradayas, in different schools, they have sometimes, added some chapters, of their own doctrine to standard works, and they try to, pass it off. Like there's one, what is it, Vashishta Ramayana, I think. There's a version of the Ramayana, which is promoting this Mayavadi idea. So that much I can say.
Just
Yes.
comment on it. In Mahabharata it does say, but I don't know whether it's called Anugita or what, but Arjun asked Lord Krishna to go over the teachings because he was involved in the war and he has forgotten. And Lord scolds him and gives a summary of what he has done. It's nothing different.
Mm-hmm.
The summary of the whole myth.
Actually, he will not be able to, I mean, this is what I came to know, will not be able to, he said that the Supreme Brahman through which I spoke at that particular time, I am not able to do it now. So he gave an elaborate thing about Sankhya Yoga, other kind of yogas, other than this. I mean, this is where I read, I don't know if anything is there.
Mahabharata just gives that, he gives a summary of it again. It doesn't mention anything about not being able to quote.
Okay.
any-
I'm not going to comment on this. I'm sorry. I think maybe the two of you should talk. You see, anyway, for us the principle, sampradaya vihina me mantra na nishpala mataha. So the mantras of the Vedas, we must receive them through sampradaya in order for them to have pal, to actually have fruit. So this type of thing, so talking about some anugita, which is for us asampradayic, there's no fruit, there's no use in it. And this sounds very much, to me like Mayavadi philosophy. So, yes.
What is the difference between material knowledge and spiritual knowledge?
Difference between material knowledge and spiritual knowledge, that's simple. The spiritual knowledge concludes in the spiritual identity of the living being and the relationship of that spiritual living being with the supreme spiritual being, God, Krishna. So knowledge which culminates in that. In other words, spiritual knowledge sheds a light on our position here in the material world with the view of bringing us back to Krishna. So spiritual knowledge, since matter is anyway derived from spirit, so spiritual knowledge also includes matter in the sense of a proper understanding of matter. And material knowledge is knowledge which does not come to this conclusion. It's knowledge only within matter, and therefore it is necessarily misleading, you see. Because material knowledge has no real basis then. Material knowledge can't really speak of the actual origin of things. Material knowledge just starts with, well, here we are, and now we can do this, we can do that, and never mind where we've come from or where we're going. That's not, people who are materialistic in their knowledge, they talk like that. Well, it doesn't matter, you see. It doesn't matter where the world came from. The point is, here we are, and we, can enjoy ourselves. Yes?
There is this objectivity versus subjectivity.
Mm-hmm.
It's also concerned with the spiritual knowledge versus material knowledge. First question. Because when you say objectivity,